We give the people what they want.
The people are getting the best in the East and the best in the West tonight when the Lakers go up against the Sixers. And we have a team in the NBA that has won 9 straight, and no one is talking about them. We'll get to that, but we start with this. After everyone was talking about the future of Aaron Rodgers yesterday, he went on the Pat McAfee show, and here's what he said about his future, and everyone talked about it.
I don't think that there's any reason why I wouldn't be back, but look, I think there's not many absolutes, as you guys know, in this business. So to make an absolute statement about something that is not an absolute, just I didn't do it, and I guess that's why it went kind of nuts. There's times where you let your mind go to maybe, well, I'm going to be a Packer for life. I think, when they drafted Jordan, it was more just like the reality kicking in going, hey, that's actually never the case. There are no absolutes in this business.
So he doesn't think there's any reason that he won't be back, but then he mentioned them drafting Jordan Love. So Jalen, does this clarify to you that Aaron Rodgers will be under center for the Packers next season?
It does. And Jacoby, Aaron Rodgers is one of my favorite people in the NFL.
Really?
Yes, he's going to be the MVP this year. But I like people that are stand up 10 toes down and say exactly what they feel. And win, lose, or draw, you know where to find him. I appreciate that about him. And he's frank. You could tell that he's unfiltered and he's not fronting when he talks. I appreciate his humility. And that's probably why the good Lord ain't give me his ability. Because let me tell you something. If I was Aaron Rodgers, y'all gonna consult me on who y'all drafting. If I was Aaron Rodgers, when I say we going for it on 4th down, we going for it on 4th down. If I want us to get a receiver in the 1st round, we're gonna have one. And for him to say, I'm gonna stay in my lane. I know I got 3 years left on my contract. And I actually told myself, even though I know better. I saw what happened with Joe Montana and the 49ers, and he ended up with the Chiefs. I saw what happened with Brett Favre, but I told myself, I'm going to be a Packer forever. For a second, he got caught up in the athlete hype. And then they drafted Jordan Love, and that woke him up. And now he's back playing killer instinct type football. They were 13-3 this year, and I do believe that he's going to remain with the team because he's having so much success there.
Well, we said it on the show yesterday that we think he'll be back with the Packers. And I think that this was sort of one of those media storms that sort of starts eating its own tail and becomes a story, but it's not really a story. He just lost the game in a bad fashion in the NFC Championship for the 2nd year in a row. He was frustrated. He was expressing his frustration a little bit. But at the end of the day, he's the MVP of the league. They have the best record in the conference. It's the 2nd year in a row with this team that he went 1 game away from the Super Bowl. So why would you leave teams? And now one thing about this that no one's really mentioned, I think he's playing chess and everyone else is playing checkers. This is a long-winded scheme to make sure that they sign Aaron Jones to keep him happy. That's what all of this is, because his running back Aaron Jones is a free agent and he just wants to make sure that he's got Devontae Adams and he's got Aaron Jones and that they don't draft a quarterback this season. That is what Aaron Rodgers is doing, and I love him for it. And like you, I want to celebrate his candidness. He's like, I want to be a Packer for life, and they drafted my replacement, so perhaps that won't be the case. And you mentioned Montana and Manning and Favre and Brady. All of these quarterbacks that we all associate with one team ended up finishing their career with another, which will probably happen with Rodgers a couple years down the road.
And Jacoby, we both old and washed up. We must relate to any athlete that goes to a press conference and talks about drinking scotch. Come on, man.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. 3 fingers of scotch. Oh, he's been doing 4 fingers of scotch for the last 2 nights while everyone's talking about him, and he's loving it. Congratulations, Aaron Rodgers. You're the MVP of the league, and you're not switching teams. We can move on to the NBA. A huge game tonight between the best team in the Western Conference by record and the best team in the Eastern Conference by records. The Lakers and the Sixers face off. And Daryl Morey spoke with Stephen A. You can get the full interview on Stephen A. Sports Center at 7 p.m. before the game. And here is a little snippet from that conversation.
Some people say finals or nothing because you guys are this talented this season. Where do you stand?
Well, I think we're pretty championship or bust. I have to say, Doc Rivers obviously has won a title. I haven't gotten there yet. Joel and Ben haven't gotten there yet. But I think you do this. You go into every season hoping to win the title. Not a lot of teams have a chance, but we absolutely have a chance, and we're going to continue to work hard until we give ourselves the best chance possible. And I think we have a very good chance.
Now, Jalen, I like to keep expectations as low as possible. And Stephen A set him up to say finals or bust, and he upped the ante and said championship or bust. Why do you think Morey went this route?
So shout to Michael Rubin, one of the owners of the Sixers. I just saw footage of him gambling with Drake and Meek Mill abroad. The reason why I bring that up is that's what the Sixers did this offseason. They put all of their chips in the middle of the table. They brought in Daryl Morey. He's not cheap. They still have Elton Brand. They brought in Doc Rivers. He's not cheap. They kept Embiid and they kept Ben Simmons. After the process is still processing because they've had heartbreak the last couple of years in the playoffs. And therefore, what he's basically saying is championship or bust for this duo. Mm-hmm. If they don't get it done this year, we will be breaking it up. But here's the thing, I can't front. He's stating the obvious. Everybody already knows this. And so if they don't make it happen this year, it's gonna come off a year too late, Jacoby. It really will. When Kawhi hit the game-winning shot, he was only in the East 1 year. Jimmy Butler was only with the Heat 1 year. And then the Nets added KD, Kyrie, and James Harden. Jalen Brown is balling like crazy with Jason Tatum. It is not clearly going to be easy for the Sixers, but that's the translation of what Daryl Morey is saying. If they don't get it done this year, those two stars that he named will not be playing together after this season. He's stating the obvious. You knew this. I knew this. But
the elephant in the room is that he tried to trade Ben Simmons a couple of weeks ago, and he just didn't get a call back from the Rockets because they took the Nets package. So, yes, this is championship or bust up this duo. However, I disagree about one thing. If they win the Eastern Conference and they put up a good fight against the winner of the Western Conference and losing 6 or 7, I don't think that would be reason to sort of bust up this duo. But one thing that's worth saying is Joel Embiid is playing MVP caliber basketball, and when he is not on the floor for the Sixers, they are just absolutely lost. But one thing you like to do on this is you like to talk about how Ben Simmons can't shoot, and I'm not going to sit here on this camera speaking into this microphone and say Ben Simmons can shoot, but I just want to point a finger at all the other things that Ben Simmons does for this team. Look at that, 6th in the NBA in assists, 21st in rebounds, 8th in steals, 2nd in deflections, and 4th in opponent field goal percentage. He's one of the best defenders in the league. He's turned into a playmaker. And when you put him on the floor with Embiid and Green and Harris, who's shooting great from 3, and Curry, who we know can shoot from 3, he's doing great. Ben Simmons, while his scoring numbers are down a little bit, is having an excellent year.
You know my professional DNA. How tall is Ben Simmons? What position does he play? You know I have an affinity for tall point guards. You know I do. But the thing that would really unlock their team and his attack at some point would be to make some shots outside of the point. That doesn't take away from him being my favorite player, which you know he's one of my favorite players in the game.
Did you say he's one of your favorite players? Did you say that?
He is.
Did you say that? Huh, never heard that before. All I hear is you complain about how he doesn't shoot. Well, that's interesting. It's convenient narrative. Well, Jalen, we have another game that had a lot of emotion, we'll call it. That is the Wizards against the Rockets. Obviously, this is Russell Westbrook's old team, John Wall's old team, and it was the Rockets who took this one. What do you think was most impactful about this? The Rockets win or the Wizards lost?
John Wall coming down to the bucket looking nasty going behind the back, huh? John Wall, a right-hand player that finishes really well with his left hand and jumps off both feet. They were playing without Christian Wood. Great to see Boogie making shots and getting his rhythm and his timing back. That was a big-time win going against your former squad. You always want to play well and be dominant against your former team, especially when you sense that they may have a level of dysfunction. And on paper, when you put Russ with Beal in the East, you don't think lottery. And if you look down at the standings, they're trending more towards that than the playoffs.
Oh, yeah.
So Bradley Beal, who's amongst the league leaders depending on what day it is in scoring, it's going to be interesting to see if he continues to want to remain in the nation's capital. That's
It's
a
that shot right
storyline
there.
that I'm watching as I'm looking at League Pass, Jacoby. What do you think?
It's this right here for me. It's this one right here when he's just on the bench, losing to the Rockets, just going like this. And Jalen, they brought in Westbrook. When you look at Beal Westbrook as a backcourt, you start asking yourself, hey, is this the best backcourt in the league? Now, one thing that happened is they lost Thomas Bryant. That was very significant for them moving forward, not a household name. But look at Russell Westbrook's efficiency from the floor in a simple stat, Jalen Rose. What does that tell you?
That's terrible.
It just broke you.
Yeah, I didn't realize that. That's real?
Yes, those are real numbers.
So here's the thing. A few years ago, Russ was the MVP of the league, man. And it was right after KD left. He averaged a triple-double, playing elite top 5 basketball. He started playing that way after January when the Rockets committed to small ball and he was playing like point center last season. And so with the Wizards, he's going to have to play a little more traditional. You put him back with Scotty Brooks, you pair him with Bill, he's got to improve offensively. I need to see the Washington Wizards at least competing for the play-in game. I need to see that.
I mean, that bar's pretty low. Like, just compete for the play-in game. Jalen didn't even say get to the play-in game, just compete for it. Jalen, this one might get us in trouble. So buckle up. It's time for the Don't Get Fired topic of the day. Never good when the GM of your team says, Jared Goff is a Ram at this moment. What does that tell you about his future in Los Angeles?
Let me see. If Jalen Ramsey could choose the next quarterback for the Rams, I'm pretty sure he'd love to have Deshaun over Goff. The GM sounded the exact same way. Non-committal. I think from one season to the next, this is going to be the most starting quarterbacks you see change teams. It's going to be musical chairs this offseason. Jared Goff is likely to be included.
See, I don't understand why GMs just don't lie. Maybe I've been in the media too long, but I'll just stand up there and lie. I'll be like, we're committed to Jared Goff. He's the future of this franchise, and I'll trade him the very next day. Moving on. Another quarterback that is likely on the move is a gentleman by name Matt Stafford. I'm not sure if you're familiar. Keep moving or hit the brakes.
Just hit the brakes.
We're hitting the brakes on this? Really? The news
Real
is
quick.
that he put up his $6.5 million home in the Detroit area. You buying a new house?
This time last year, around the NFL draft, what position did I say the Lions should take a player?
Gentleman by the name of Tua Tagovailoa. You had your eyes on, yep.
Keep it moving, dog.
We'll keep moving. Let's keep moving. Next, we have the Clippers win streak coming to an
Hit the
end
brakes.
in Atlanta, and it was Trae Young who shot them down 38 points and a deep dagger three. Now, it's worth mentioning that the Clippers were without Paul George and Kawhi Leonard, but what do you think about Ice Trae the game?
Ice Trae out there giving them buckets. You right. No Kawhi, no PG. But look at that. He shot that from Alpharetta.
Was the one.
Putting in
now,
work.
after a slow start, it seems like the Hawks are starting to pull it together. Now, moving on, we have some news about Cooperstown's Baseball Hall of Fame. Keep moving or hit the brakes.
Hit the brakes on this one, dog.
No players will be elected into the Hall of Fame in 2021. How do you feel about that, Mr. Rose?
I love baseball, man. Willie
Okay.
Horton signed this back.
Okay.
The legend, Detroit Tigers. Barry Bonds is the best baseball player I personally ever saw with my own two eyes, who just happened to be left-handed, who happened to usher in 30 for 30, 40 for 40, and then all of a sudden, he started hitting mammoth home runs and breaking records. You remember when people was walking Barry Bonds when other people was on base?
Oh, yeah, bases
games?
loaded. You walk one in. Yeah, all that.
Dog, and for people to say he doesn't have a championship, I want to teach you something about team sports. If he would have played left field for the Yankees, he would have had multiple World Series. It's a team game. Barry Bonds deserves to be in the Hall of Fame. I know that we don't want to reward cheating and steroid takers, but I believe he was a Hall of Famer before those allegations. I believe Roger Clemens was a Hall of Famer before those allegations. But the lessons should still stand out there, young people. You cheat in sports, there is sometimes a level of debt that you're going to always have to pay. And that may keep them gentlemen out of the Hall of Fame.
The Chiefs are going to be missing a key part of their offense in the Super Bowl. Keep it moving or hit the brakes.
Hey, man, let me tell you something. It's going to be an undercurrent, but they're going to be missing a couple of offensive linemen that normally be starting for them that were starting in the Super Bowl last year. Keep it moving for now. Got to protect Mahomes.
We keep it moving.
My Buffalo Bills are once again in the news just for their grit and toughness. Keep
Hit
moving
the
or hit the
brakes.
brakes.
For your guy.
Cole Beasley said he played the entire postseason with a broken leg, but it was really just like a fracture. You know what I mean? It's not like he snapped his leg in half. He was out there catching balls. I appreciate the toughness, but Cole, you look good out there. It wasn't that big a deal.
Let me tell you something, Cole. You played this season with a broken leg. Benny the Butcher did the advertisement after he got shot in the leg. And he was at Kansas City in the game. Come on, Cole Beasley.
Yeah, Cole, you had the second worst leg associated with the Buffalo Bills on last Sunday in Arrowhead. Shout out to Benny the Butcher and Olga Zelda. Moving on, Karis LeVert opened up about how the Harden trade could have saved his life. Keep moving and hit the brakes.
Hit the brakes, because that's nephew.
Karis LeVert had surgery to treat kidney cancer that was discovered during the physical when he was moved to the Pacers. How do you feel about that, Mr. Rose?
I love him, dog. He will be successful without basketball. It just so happened that he's really talented. And I appreciate his perspective. Once he gets back healthy, he's going to be a game changer in Indiana.
Absolutely. And finally, Jalen, one of my favorite rappers, one of your favorite rappers.
Hit the brakes. Hit the brakes.
Did a collaboration
Hit the
with
brakes.
ESPN to hype up UFC 257. This is the video that Eminem dropped with ESPN and UFC. Check it out. Love to see that.